Because the more that you go through, even though we hate to go through things at times, the more we actually grow and learn.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back to the Walking Life's Journey podcast. I am Nikita White.
I'm Keandra.
Yep.
And that's the man of the house, Mr. Lorenzo White. For those that are listening to this podcast for the very first time, we want to say it is a pleasure to be surrounding you in your space. And those that continue to follow, like, share, comment, and have committed to the WLJ community, we appreciate you more than words can explain.
Thank you.
We want to let you know where you can find us.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, TikTok, and we have a Facebook group.
That's right.
And don't forget, you can always see us live in action on YouTube. Yes. So this is season 4, and we are on episode 3, and we are exploring a word series this season, breaking down one word at a time and discovering how it shapes our lives. So today we're talking about a word that holds the power to transform how we see ourselves, others, and the world around us.
All right.
You know what that word is?
What is it?
What's that word?
You know it?
Perspective. I'm sorry. What's the word?
Perspective.
Perspective. Perspective
Perspective.
is the word that we will be focusing on today. This word is often overlooked, but it is the key to unlocking resilience, gratitude, and purpose. So get comfy, grab your journal, or just tune in as we dive into the word perspective.
Okay, let's do it.
Keandra, what is perspective? What is that?
So,
what is that word?
Perspective is really just the way you see things. That's really what it is. Is how we choose to look at things. And the crazy thing about perspective is we all may be in the same situation and all see it differently. So it's really how we see things.
I love that.
That's it.
It's the lens that we decide to look through.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. White, you got anything to add to that word?
No, y'all doing pretty good.
Good. I love it. And I love that perspective. We can cover in the same household and yet still have a different perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy because two people can look at the exact same situation and see two completely different things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's how powerful perspective is. It is. How is your perspective actually formed? How is it formed?
I think perspective is formed by multiple things. It could be upbringing, environment, things that you actually deal with or go through. It's a multitude of things that shapes how we see a particular thing.
Good. Yeah. I think too, like you said, things you go through, your past experiences, all that can shape your perspective, your beliefs, your fears, all of that can help.
Yep.
Well, has there been a time that you all can think about in our own household? We all live together. We're all going through things together. But when is there a time that we looked at the same situation and we had a different perspective? We were looking at the same thing. I laugh because sometimes my husband will say something like, you just said the same thing I said. But because I said it in different words, I'm like, no, that's not how I heard it. That's not how I heard it. So can y'all think of a situation in our family that we all sat there and we saw it happening and yet we had a whole nother perspective?
I can't right off the top of my head think of like a particular situation, but I'll use an example. Just something in general.
Okay.
Say for instance, if like when Jakar was little, you see him 1 year old standing up on the edge of something. I'll say me, because y'all was like, he all right. I ain't want my little man to fall or bust his head, so I was more on edge, ready to react or do whatever to prevent him from getting hurt. But we looking at two different things. We looking at the same thing. One person sees it as being dangerous. The other person looking at it as, okay, he gonna learn. So
that would be how we probably said it. We were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he'll learn.
He'll learn.
Knowing
Figure
that
it
he's
out.
gonna be safe.
Yeah.
Now he won't like high up and was gonna fall. He was gonna be safe. He was. It was just like sometimes you don't learn a lesson until you. Okay, how many times have you said something to a child, spouse, a sister, a brother? That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. But yet they still gotta touch it
Until
to
they feel
understand.
it.
oh yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Also, with perspective, I can't pinpoint an exact moment either, but I do know because it happens all the time. Really, in certain situations, we might be in a store or something, and me and you are like, someone else might do something crazy, and then you're always on guard, so you might be like, wait, what they finna do? And we're just like, oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I thought they were fine. He's like, no, he was doing something. So
Yeah.
one person might be ready to fight or protect, and we're just like, la la la,
Yeah.
like it's fine.
Yeah, I,
Yeah,
see,
you're
I-
right
I
about
see a
that.
lot of
I like
memes.
that.
I see a lot of memes and things like that where the husband is always on guard, looking at dangerous situations,
Yep.
and they pan to the wife or significant other. They like in their own world. Yeah,
But that's that perspective, right? Because you have that military background.
Yes.
You've been in situations that we haven't had to face.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you walk out, and that is something that I noticed for sure in our family, you walk out, you already are stepping into the world like I'm on guard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on guard. I'm in protection mode. And we are walking out like we don't have a care in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe it's just because we're so solid that we know you have it, that we're just like, oh, let my hair down, relax,
Yeah.
chill. But yeah, you are definitely on guard. And that's
Yeah.
that perspective of going into even situations. We're going into a crowded place. You're looking at where's the exit, where's this, and we are like, we're just walking into this.
Mhm.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And then perspective, because sometimes you think we're not aware, and we
That
are
is
very,
true.
very much
That
aware.
is true.
Don't take what I'm saying as a weakness. We are very aware of our surroundings. It's just our awareness doesn't come across like your
Mhm.
awareness.
Right, because he be on me all the time. Like, you need to be aware. You need to be aware. I'm like, I scanned the whole room. I saw it, but I'm just
Yeah.
not on guard, as on guard as he would be.
Yeah,
I'll let you have that one.
yeah,
We'll talk offline.
yeah. But seriously, have y'all ever noticed how people that have faced the hardest situations sometimes have the most peace?
Yeah.
Sometimes they have the most peace. And that's not because their problems disappeared. It's because they shifted their perspective. They can always be in a woe is me place. But why will I be in a woe is me place when I can say, what is the lesson in this?
Yeah.
What was my takeaway in this situation? That's a different switch of perspective.
Yeah, I think with that being said, one of the things, like you said, people that go through the most can sometimes have the most peace. That's like kind of like you've been through so much, that other things don't seem as bad. It could be that because the more that you go through, even though we hate to go through things at times,
Yeah.
the more we actually grow and learn.
Yes.
Like when I was in the military, my last deployment, I went through a whole bunch during that last deployment,
Mhm.
but it grew me as a leader. It grew me as a supervisor.
Yeah.
Because I got put through some things.
Don't we
I
grow?
came out on top, but actually going through those things and coming out on the other end,
Yeah.
it grew me. So lessons learned and things like that, they helped improve who I was, and left me with some things that I could take forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's why, because sometimes as human beings, we can see challenges as opportunities.
Yes.
And you said you were put in a place where you had some challenges hit you, but you also was able to step back and grow from it and learn new opportunities and be able to do things differently. So when that challenge, because it will come back again, when that type of challenge come back, your perspective looks different of how to deal with the situation. Yeah, I think that's great. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I had a question
Yes.
I wrote down
Okay.
because as I was thinking about perspective, I was curious
Uh-huh.
to know you guys' thoughts.
Okay.
Is there a right and a wrong when it comes to, or can there be? I don't even want to say can, because sometimes we got to lock in on definitive things. Is
Okay.
there a right and a wrong when it comes to perspectives? I know each one of us have our own perspective on things, but to me, people could be loud and wrong at the same time.
Yes, they
Well,
can.
yes.
They could be
Yes.
confident in what they saying and be dead wrong at the same
Yes,
time.
they
So
can.
what are y'all thoughts on that?
Well, first, I do want to say it is their perspective.
Yes.
It's their perspective.
So-
But I do believe that just because it's your perspective does not mean it's
That
right.
is
Okay,
true.
okay.
It
That
does
is
not
true.
mean it's right. That just means how you were brought in this world to see things, or how you have made it in your mind that that's how you're going to move through life. You can have your own perspective, but it does not mean
You are right.
that you are right.
And
Okay.
it's true.
And it's true. And it's true. It's kind of like when people know of you before they actually meet you,
That is true.
and they've already put their perspective that this is who you are.
Right.
And that right there burns my britches, because I can
Burns
have
your
some.
britches.
It burns my britches.
All right.
You can have someone like, I'm gonna tell you all about this person. I'm gonna tell you all
Mm-hmm.
about this person, and I can hear that. But what I'm actually going to do when I meet that person, I'm gonna have all that tucked away in my toolbox as a reminder. But I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt until you show me something different. But also, trust but verify. I got my toolbox full of tools, and I don't want to label you and put my perspective on you, and I don't even know who you are yet. I don't know. That's what I have to say. Wrong. Like, your
Wrong.
perspective is not always right. It's yours, but it ain't always right.
And you share the same thought?
No, yeah, I do share the same thought. I think there can be a wrong perspective. Even how, just like the other day, he said, "Oh, you ate all the ice cream I bought," and I said, "No, I bought that ice cream." So we don't know who bought the ice cream. I think I bought it.
I know I bought it.
I bought the ice cream.
I didn't say I didn't say you ate it all. I said your hand deep in there. I said you deep in there, ain't you? Y'all, her whole
But
wrist
I
was in
said
there.
I bought it, so I can do that. And he's like, "No, I bought it." And then we're trying to figure out times and everything.
You weren't trying to figure
And
out
at the end of the
anything.
day,
You
his
were.
perspective was wrong, right?
Oh, that what we doing? Okay, that's what
I
we
love
doing.
it. I love it. Well, look, I love that question came about, but I want you to just pause for a second. What is your perspective on your current season of life? And this is to the community. What is your perspective on your current season of life? Is it holding you back, or is it pushing you forward? Now, y'all think about that, but the community, think about that. Ask yourself that question. Go ahead. I saw you,
I
Kiana.
know.
You was ready.
No, it's funny because I was just talking about this the other day, so I'm glad you brought it up. But I was
talking about perspective the other day.
I was, but I was just saying how I'm trying to learn from every situation I'm in. Even though I see myself being farther than I am, I want this, I want that, I want that, but I'm like, I need to learn from where I'm at, because if I had everything right now, I wouldn't know how to act. I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yep,
So
yep.
even though I might be working somewhere, I don't necessarily thought I would be working at, but I'm starting to enjoy it, and just I'm working more with kids, and I'm like, okay, it's teaching me how to show people how to follow directions, how to articulate myself more, how to
Yes.
lead a room. So just trying to learn bits and pieces from every situation I'm in. And it was hard at first because sometimes you can feel down, like, oh, why am I going through this? Why am I doing this? I should be this. But you just have to have that shift, and it made me feel better that I was actually learning something from it instead
Yep.
of being down on myself and hard on myself. So.
Absolutely.
Oh.
I like how she brings that up, because we were just having a conversation with a friend, and those are some of the same things she shared. Like, I have a master's degree and I'm doing this job. But when she actually switched her perspective, she said, I know God told me to take this job, which means he has something for me. There is work for me in this situation. And so as I looked at that same thing for you, you could have said the same thing. I got a master's degree and I'm doing this, and this is not even what I wanted to do. But it is lining you up to where you're going. It's lining you up to the leader that you will be when you actually get to that place where you're supposed to be. Yeah.
And I know something came out of in the community sometime this week. You are right where you're supposed to be, or something like that.
Say that again. What did we say in the community this week?
I don't remember.
Don't compare yourself to no one
Yes.
else. Your journey is your journey.
It
You
is.
are right where you need to be.
That's right.
That's what happened in the community this week. It did.
I was right.
Good.
Good job.
Look, can you think about a tough season you were in and you had to reframe your perspective to get you through that season of your life? Or maybe it was something that really happened, and when you sat down and you said, dang, that's not really that bad. What about this?
Yeah, definitely. I could say, like early on in our marriage,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to figure out marriage, what it means to be married, and things like that. And we all grow up with our own vision of how we see our marriage going, or the things that we would do or wouldn't put up with in marriage and relationships and things like that. And I had to change my thought process, because you really do have two people coming together, and the ultimate goal of marriage is to make it to the end of life with somebody. All the little extras, the little shiny things, that ain't always the case when it comes to marriage. Everybody got their own goals and things like that. But the biggest thing that allowed me to stay in position as a husband was not going past that line, of disrespect.
Yeah.
So, just changing my perspective on what I thought a marriage should be, and knowing
That's
that
good.
our thing is our thing, and how we make it work is how we make it work. As long as the disrespect, the intentional disrespect,
Yeah.
is kept at a minimum, that's what will work.
I like that. First of all, the intentional disrespect, but also understanding we got married at 20 years old?
19 and 20.
Yeah, we got married young, and we learned from the marriages around us. I mean, we were one of the first in our friend
20.
group to get married in our 20s. And which means we look to our parents. We look to our family members that did marriage before us. And we learned, like, okay, that might work for them, but that's not how our marriage is going to go. Or, ooh, that works, let's try it. And you learn and you shift. And now we had to find our places. What do we want our marriage to look like? What do we want this to look like at the end of the day? And now we are 25 years strong. 25 years strong. So
Marriage.
In marriage, yes.
How
In
long
marriage.
in relationship?
Oh my
Do
gosh.
the math.
I can't math that fast. That math be mathing. Years. How about this? We were 14 when we first started dating.
14, 15.
Yeah.
Yep, Dad was 15. I was 14.
93.
93.
I was in Miss King's class.
He was in Miss King's class.
Minding my business.
Minding his business.
Trying to learn, y'all.
We got
Trying
the
to
story.
learn.
Yeah, y'all check season
And
1
then
out.
what I said was, I want him.
Wrap me
He's
up.
good for my
Yep.
future.
Took me off the market
And I took him off the market from that day. Ain't no going back.
early.
No. Y'all, seriously. Now, perspective. You brought it up. Just because it's your perspective doesn't mean it's right.
That is
But
true.
what happens when you have been sitting in an area where your perspective tends to be very negative on things? Can you change that up? You can change your
You
perspective. You can change your perspective. And let's talk about that next, because I think one of the most empowering things that you can do is realize you are allowed to change your perspective. Just because you was raised like that, just because that's what you saw mama do, you saw auntie do, you saw cousin do, if you don't like how that perspective is making you feel, switch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Switch it up. And that's what I love, because you can surround yourself with great mentors. You can read books. Like, there can be so much that can shape you into the person you want to be.
That's right. If you know better, you do better.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it's like somebody knowing what's right but continue to choose what's wrong.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Knew better, you do better.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Even if it's like your perspective on certain situations, we've all heard like look on the bright side, or find the, just even in bad situations, find that little glimmer of like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that little glimmer of hope
Yep.
that makes you say, oh, it's not that bad. I can make it through this.
It's not that bad. I can make it through this. I think about, as you said that, automatically my grandbaby popped in my head because he can get frustrated over the very small things sometimes. And I look and I'm like, just use your words. Just use your words. But his perspective right now is that thing is the thing that needs to be taken care of right now.
Yes.
I don't care what it is. When he got something in his mind,
Oh yeah, he locked
you
in.
need to focus on that thing with him, or you are not paying him no attention. It was so funny today as we were getting ready for church. He got upset with mom. He said, "You're just ignoring me." That was his perspective. He said she was ignoring him.
She did.
But the fact is, I said, "Hey, is she getting ready for church? What is she doing?" "Yeah, she getting ready." Okay. She's not ignoring you. She's just wrapping up what she's working on.
And actually, I never ignored him. From my perspective, I answered him, and he didn't want to hear it. I answered him.
Different perspective.
He just kept being in his mood and never focused on that part.
Yeah, she ignored him.
I didn't.
Yeah. But you can shift your perspective. You can look at things through a different lens. You can get to the point and say, that thing wasn't that bad after all. It might have hurt, but it wasn't that bad after all.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
When you
It's a choice.
When you have that new information that differs from what you've been taught, and it happens to be true, are you gonna go with that or stick with your own ways? You stick with your own ways, you're gonna be stuck where you at.
Say that again.
I forgot what I said. If you stick with your own ways, you're gonna be stuck where you're at. So.
Yes. And with that being said, in order to change your perspective, you do need to pause. You need to just say, okay, slow down. Let me look at this situation without judgment. Because when it's personal to us,
Oh yeah,
we're judging that sucker like no other.
Yeah.
So let's move the personal feelings, the emotions
It's
out of
hard
it.
too.
I can tell you one, I'm an emotional person and I love hard. So when something happens, I have to calm down before I black out. And when I black out, I don't like that girl. And she hasn't had to come out in a long time, so I'm keeping her prayed up.
Thank you,
prayed
Lord.
up.
Thank you, Lord.
Prayed up.
Thank you.
No, yeah, you're right. Sometimes you do have to kind of like zoom out of the situation and see it from a different perspective, or like the outside perspective, to truly come correct in a situation. So,
So I think too, as we know, we can be stuck on our own perspective. I definitely don't want you to be afraid to invite new perspectives into your world, whether it's a book, right? Whether it's a mentor, whether it's a podcast that you're listening to. Even when it comes to hard conversations, find new perspectives of how you can handle those situations. Your way is not the only way. Your way may be what's pushing people away from you. Your way may be what's keeping people from really getting to know the true you. Really.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid.
Yeah.
When you shift your perspective, you don't change how you see the world. You change how you live in the world. Perspective is not just a tool, y'all. Guess what it is? It's a superpower. And sometimes you gotta motivate yourself to say, girl, we can look at that different. Babes, we can look at that different. Sis, we can look at that different.
Yes.
We can look at that different.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's a superpower. So we encourage you this week to pay attention to the lens that you're looking through.
Yeah.
Choose perspective on purpose.
On
on
purpose.
purpose.
Choose it on purpose, y'all.
It's a
Seriously.
choice. It's a choice.
Because remember, life will always present you with challenges, but you get to decide how you see them. You get to decide if it's going to push you, if it's going to motivate you, or if it's going to be a stumbling block in your life.
That's good.
You get to choose that. No one can help choose that, make that choice for you. Have you ever had that when you thought, this is what I'm walking through? Is it a stumbling block? Is it a challenge? Is it a motivator? Sometimes you just pause and you say, wow, that thing happened. But you know what? That's going to push me to my next spot. And then sometimes, let's be real, that thing happens and you're like, I don't even know what to do with this.
Take me out.
Yeah, that's how you feel. But always remember, you have the power to shift your perspective.
Yeah.
And so we just want to say thank you for tuning into this word series. We're focused on perspective. This is season 3. Season 4, episode 3.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
That's
Sorry.
right.
Yes.
Season 4, episode 3.
Yes.
And we're really just focusing on words. Words that we may throw around every single day. But do you really take the time to dissect that word and say, what does that mean in my life?
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Perspective.
But all I can say is, remember, as you are walking this journey called life, you are a key piece to your story. Until next time.